In this tutorial, I'll be talking the basics of Python programming language. So basically, Python is an integrated high-level programming language for general purpose programming, and it's quite widely used in today. If you are working, it's like in ETL or machine learning or deep learning or any data manipulation. Or you can also create a website using Python. Websites such as Reddit has been created using Python. So it's a general purpose programming language and has been quite widely used. This is the guy, Guido von Rossum. He sorry if I pronounced his name wrong. He's a creator of Python, and it was created around in late 1980s when he started this project in 1989, and more can be read on the website, on the Wikipedia website about Python programming language. It supports OOPS. There are two main versions of Python: the Python 2 and Python 3. So the latest version is Python 3.6.4. I use Python 3.5 point something and 2.7.11. I would suggest starting with Python 3 because Python 2 will slowly be phased out and everything will be just Python 3. The programming language basically consists of different packages or modules, and each of these packages are classes and functions and variables that so that we do not have to write our own code, and then whatever everyone else has done, we can use that. To start with, right now I'm on Ubuntu, and Ubuntu and Mac, they come with Python, but if you are on a Windows machine, then you have to install that Python. Hopefully Windows in the near future does that automatically. So let's say we will download Python 3.5.4. If you are on a Windows machine, I will suggest download this executable installer and install that. If you are on Ubuntu, then we will automatically have this installed. And if we say Python 3, it will open the terminal and then to quit. There are some other versions. There's a version called Conda. Some people use that. It basically open source package management tool on top of base Python. The good thing is it basically comes with a lot of packages that we can use out of the box. We don't have to install that. The downside is sometimes I struggle with this, so I try to use the base Python. There's also something called Canopy. It can be also used and thought it can be also used just like Conda. I'll be using the base Python, so if you want, I just wanted to give an idea that this can also be used. I will not be using Python or Canopy here. So once this is done, the first thing is basically if you want to install any package, then this is how we install a package: sudo pip install pip3 install sklearn if you want to install for Python 3, and sudo pip install sklearn if you want to do this for Python 2. So first thing I'll do is sudo pip3 install IPython Notebook. So I already have this thing installed, so this will give me requirement satisfied. But if IPython is not installed on Notebook, then it will basically download that and install on your machine. Now for this programming language, there are some guidelines. So the current standard is called PEP 8, and this is the style guide for Python code. What it does is basically gives the do's and don'ts for writing a good programming language. Obviously what happens is we read the code more as compared to write, so there are some of the things that we should be mindful of. So for example, the indentation, tabs or spaces, the maximum line length for a code, then imports, how the import should be done, and so on and so forth. I will suggest going through this once, just to get an idea on how to write that stuff. This is also how the variables should be written. So for example, there's a naming convention for variables. Sometimes, generally what I do is if it's a normal variable, I just write all small case, or using underscores. I do some keywords are just reserved for Python, so we should not use that. And more can be read on this website. It's on the Python's original website. Once we have installed the IPython Notebook, to start the IPython Notebook, we need to do this called Jupyter Notebook, and it will launch in your default browser this web page. The web page will be this will launch this, and then what we need to do is basically we need to click on new and then Python 3, and this will open. We can rename the name of the notebook here, and then this is a cell. If I say 3, this is 3. Now this is basically what we are writing in the browser, but it's being compiled in Python, and the output is written there. So this is the IPython Notebook is really useful if you want to do some stuff. If you remember the Python UI or terminal, it's not so user friendly, and I just don't like working in here. Some people, what they do is they use editor such as Sublime Text and then compile the program from here. But oftentimes if you are in testing or debugging phase, then this is quite helpful. And then once we are here, we will launch this terminal and see. So variables in Python are very easy to declare. So now x is equal to 2, x y is equal to 3. So now x will contain value 2, and then y is contain value 3, and abc will contain the value hello. So let's say what we see abc, and this prints abc. If I print abc, it also prints hello. If I say x comma y, this will print up a tuple, and this is from one of the last videos that I made to give an idea about the basic data types. Python also allows the basic operators, so the addition, subtraction, division, modulus, multiplication, floor division, and to the power. So for example, I can say x plus y, and that will give me 5. I can also do x plus 3, it will give me 5. But if I do a plus 2, then it will give me an error because it doesn't know what a is. So if that variable has not been initialized, it will give an error. Let's say if I give a is equal to 1 and then I do a plus 2, that will give me value 3. If I do 3 by 2, then it will give me 1.5. This is only true for Python 3. If you are working on Python 2, you will get just value 1. If we need to do the same thing for just to get the integer value, I need to do 3 / 2. If we need 1 by 2, then it will 0.5. 3 minus 2 will be 1, 3 minus 2.0 will be 1.0. So this is everything works exactly the same way that we have. Python also support bitwise operator. So if we have a and b, then it will go value 0. I'll not be talking about this much. There are inbuilt functions. Last time we talked about the how to write a function. There are multiple inbuilt functions that come with Python. The one is like hash. We can get the hexadecinal value of any number. So 0x62 is the hexadecinal equivalent of 98. We can also round 4.334 to 2 decimal places or 4 decimal places or 7 decimal places. It's up to you on how much we can do. There is also a inbuilt function called instance. So if you want to see if 1 is an instance of int, then that's true, but is 1.0 an instance, that will be false. So let's check if 1.0 is a float, and that's true. Let's say is instance ABC is float, and this should return no, that is false. But if we do str, that will return true. Now there are multiple Python inbuilt functions, and this can be accessed here. So the absolute basically gives the absolute value of a number. If we do ellipse of -2, this will give it 2. All basically any ASCII, bin, bool, bytes, callable, char, and so on and so forth. And this can be used, the min set attribute, to set the attribute of the environment, static method, power, and yeah, so we can use any of these functions. I will copy this here for inbuilt functions. We can also accept user input from the user. So input is equal to raw underscore input. Enter any number. I will square it and give it back. Oftentimes we require so now in input in value 3 will be stored, and what we can do is def square a we can write the function as v is this and return v into v, and if we run square it will ask like some error. I don't know what the problem is. I found the error. What I had done initially was I was storing this value in a variable called input, and that's why I was saying before we should be cautious whenever there's a keyword that Python uses. It will be in green, so we should avoid that. So now I'm storing an input, and then I gave the number 3, and then it will give me a string. So this contains a string. Let's define a function called square return, and this takes an input as squares and give it to us. So let's say we give 6 and give me 36. So this is the basics of Python programming language. One of the changes from Python 2 to Python 3 will be we need to use a bracket for print. So I am going to school, and this prints that. If we have multiple lines of output, so in that case what we need to do is hello, how are you, my name is ABC, I am an XYZ, and this basically exactly prints on how we gave this thing. Python also supports there are special characters called ABC, %d, and %s. So what it did is basically it replaced the 5 to here, and there may be multiple cases where we can do this. We can also use the %f, and this will print the same. If you want to then this will basically clip it to 2 decimal places, and we can change that accordingly. We can also do this, but in this case it will be this. So for this video this will be I'll concluding this, and I'll be using the next video to move forward.